Hey, Katie Kimball here with Kids Cook Real Food and the Healthy Parenting Connector. You know, so many of us parents just really want to raise healthy kids. We want them to have healthy bodies. We want them to have healthy minds. We want them to have healthy academic lives, healthy social lives, healthy spiritual lives. Whew. Sometimes it's exhausting. And when we think about like my parenting journey compared to my parents' parenting journey, there's one huge, massive factor that's different, and it's technology. I mean, back when my parents were parenting me, they were following rules like keep the family computer in the living room so you can see over your teenager's shoulder. I'm pretty sure all teenagers have a computer in their pocket now and probably screens in their bedroom. So, like, the world has changed. Technology has changed the world for good and for ill. And parenting has to change too. I keep saying, like, we don't have this chapter in the parenting playbook to look back on history and learn from other people's mistakes. Like, we have to work together and team up as parents to write this chapter in the parenting handbook all by ourselves. So I've got 4 kids. They range from kindergarten to a sophomore in high school. So I feel like this is like over 40 parenting years if you add all my kids' ages. So I feel like we've learned a little bit along the way. And one thing that I do think we do right here is we are so intentional. We're so intentional and cautious. And so if you like that idea, intentionality and caution, particularly when it comes to screens, let's talk. I'm going to share some of my secrets. Again, parenting handbook for toddler years and early elementary, the American Academy of Pediatrics said 1 hour of screen time a day, right? And so we said, okay, great, we can figure this out. We're going to categorize, TV and tablet time and any video games all in this bucket called screen time, and it'll be 1 hour per day. Easy peasy. Everything changes when either A, your kids are virtual schooling. Well, how do we deal with that? Or B, your kids get into upper elementary or middle school or, of course, high school. And, like as soon as my son hit 6th grade, a bunch of his homework was on a screen. So we realized this time limit thing, it's totally child's play. It's great, fine for the toddlers, the 5-year-olds, maybe the 8-year-olds. But we have got to train our kids to be healthy, independent adults. And that includes technological literacy, in my humble opinion. So how in the world do we do that? Because I tell you, I got my phone here. Do I get sucked in? Do I get scrolly on social media? Do I spend too much time wasted on that device sometimes? Yeah, it's really, really hard. So how do we train our teenagers to develop these skills of self-discipline and even just the evaluative skills? How do we help them evaluate what's coming at them and how they're using this device? So one ninja hack that we designed here at the Kimball House is to create 3 screen time buckets or categories. And we have conversations with our kids, not about how long you're using a screen, but about the quality and the balance of that screen time. So let me know if this seems helpful to you. When we talk to, again, this is like upper elementary tweens and teens. When we talk to them about screen time and tech use, there are 3 buckets, and those buckets are creative, consumptive, and social. Okay, that pretty much encapsulates everything you would do on a device, right? Creative is one of my favorites. They all have pros and cons, by the way. There are no black and whites. Everything is gray. Hate it. But this is how we train our kids to be adults, right? Creative is one of my favorites because when we talk about creating with our devices, this is when you are the person, maybe posting on social. By the way, there's no black and white between the buckets either. This is when you are creating content. You're writing a story. You're editing, shooting and editing video. My high schooler is in a media class right now, and it's so fun. Like, his new social life is getting his neighborhood buddies to be in his videos for his media class, and then he spends time editing them. I love it. This might include graphic design, making pamphlets. My daughter is 12. She has taken it upon herself to plan our 5-year-old's 6th birthday party, and that does include a lot of time on screens, but I do feel like she's creating mostly, Does that make sense? So if you are the actor, if you're the one doing the action and you're creating, no matter what you're creating, that would go in our creative bucket. The consumptive bucket is, in most families, for most people, probably the largest one. It's the easiest one to sort of put the red X on and call it that negative bucket. There can be a lot of positives in the consumptive bucket too, but let's define it. Let's talk about what it is. When we talk about consumptive use of technology, now that's when things, and I always make this motion, that's when things are sort of coming at you out of the screen, right? They're very opposite. Creative is you are putting yourself into the tech. Consumptive is usually things coming out at you. So that's watching YouTube videos. I feel like most video games are in consumptive. My kids disagree. Sometimes they say, hey, I'm in create mode. I'm doing creative things, Mom. No black and whites. It's all gray. Sometimes social media is consumptive, man. If you're just scrolling and you're just reading about other people's lives, or you're watching some little videos on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, that's definitely consumptive with a sprinkling of social. So again, anything where you are consuming what others have created, Netflix, of course, you know, I mentioned YouTube, is all in there. And even, honestly, even when you are reading my posts or someone's, you know, the articles, or you're learning, that's still consumptive. But see, that's where that consumptive bucket, it has some positives and some negatives. It's great to learn, right? It's important to learn, and it's important to feed our brains. So no black and whites. Now the social bucket is pretty obvious what I mean. Social is how we use our tech to connect with other real live human beings, right? So for some kids, that might be a lot of texting. That might be social media like Snapchat or Instagram with their friends. That might mean emailing back and forth, whether it's with teachers or aunts and uncles or friends. A lot of times kids get on the video calls, you know, FaceTime or Google Hangouts. So that's all that's social. For us as kids, what was it? It was the phone with the cord, and you'd walk this way until the cord ran out, and you'd walk that way until the cord ran out, and you'd close your bedroom door on the cord, right? That was it. That was our social tech. That's all we had. And yeah, parents would set the timer and hang up the phone when you were out of minutes. We can't do that anymore. It's not about the timers. It's about the brains. It's about the self-discipline, and it's about understanding that tech use can be good. I mean, hello, if you're listening to this, you've either got a podcast in your ear or you're watching a video, right? You're consuming the content that I happen to be creating. Is that good or bad for either of us? It depends what we're sacrificing to do it, right? It depends how much other consumptive time you've had today, and maybe how much creative time I have had today. Now, I don't know. It's hard for me to say you can have too much creative time, but again, I'm sure you can. There's no blacks and whites. Tech can be good. Tech brings us together, but we need to be intentional about our use, and we need to train our teens and tweens to be intentional about their use. So I just want you to start imagining, if you can, you know, if you like my categories, creative, consumptive, and social, imagine what conversations you could have with your teens and tweens about balancing creative, consumptive, and social. Again, most people gravitate toward the consumptive because it's easiest, right? You're tired at the end of the day, you kick your feet up, you watch Netflix. You don't usually think, oh, I'm so tired, I'm going to write a short story. Like, not happening, right? So consumptive is the easiest to slide into, so we have conversations with our kids. How's your balance today? You know, are you taking a break from doing homework on a screen by watching a video on a screen? Is that really a break? Right? You don't take a break from walking by going for a run. Yeah, so we talk with our kids about, we want to take a break from a screen. Maybe you should go outside and jump on the tramp, or hop on your ripstick, or, you know, move your body in some way. So when we talk about balance, it's balance in all of life. Are kids going to get this right away? No. Do I get this right every day? No, never. I mean, sometimes I get it right, but every day we make mistakes. And so I want you to really think about your parenting with tech this week. I want you to hone in on how you use tech, and I want you to have conversations with your kids, regardless of their age, of how they can keep that balance of creative, consumptive, and social. Maybe how doing their homework on a computer, or virtual schooling on a computer or a laptop, or, well, laptop is a computer, a tablet, or whatever device they're using is maybe making them feel, right? Sometimes our eyes get fatigued. Sometimes our minds get fatigued. We just want to take a little break. So I really want you to talk about that balance with your kids. And my last tip that I want to talk to you about today is that cell phone use, right? Cell phone ownership, rather, in the teens and tweens. I'm a little bit alarmed at how young kids are getting handed cell phones nowadays, and I just want to encourage you, healthy parenting connector parents, I know you are intentional, and I want you to be really intentional about when your kids get their own device, particularly a device that fits in their pocket that is connected to the internet, okay? Because as good as tech is, there is a lot of evil out there in technology, and there are a lot of evil people out there who use technology for nefarious means. So how do you know when a child's old enough to have a cell phone? Just like the timer is child's play, setting an age on a massive responsibility like a cell phone and having the internet in your pocket is not tied to age. I believe it's completely tied to maturity and responsibility, and our kids know that they have to demonstrate that responsibility both with devices and in their own self-discipline before they're allowed to have a phone. They also know that there is a stair-step process where they are going to get a dumb phone first. They're going to get a phone without internet before they get a phone with internet. And it doesn't matter what age they are when they get phone number one, it's not going to have internet because they need to build that responsibility, build that trust with us, and prove to us that they're ready for the intense amount of self-discipline needed to have the internet in our pocket. I see a couple of comments coming in. I love seeing you here, Susan Wren. I take a break from running by walking. True, but I said we don't take a break from walking by running. Definitely true. But we always want to make sure that our breaks are a little bit different, right? They're either different intensity, different item. I really think that if you're taking a break from screens, and I feel it because I'll do it too. Oh, I want to take a break from work. I'm just going to watch a YouTube video, or I'm going to read this article I've been wanting to read. It doesn't feel like a break when you're done, when you take a break from screen on a screen, for sure. I love it. Yeah, see, Susan doesn't give her kids cell phones till they're in high school. And that's the thing. A, do they have a need? B, are they responsible enough? If A is a maybe or a not yet, you don't even worry about B. If they don't have a need, they have to have a need, right? Good, Jody. I'm so glad these categories sound helpful for you. Once again, for our family, they're creative, consumptive, and social. And I'm sure that you could have other categories. You could have like work and play and social or whatever, you know, because homework is in there. We kind of just put homework in its own like required category, right? Sometimes so we don't even really categorize homework because you just have to do it, which is another reason why we don't want to really set those timers, because what do you do if you have to do your homework on a device and your time is up? Then you end up with a lot of like conversations. Mom, can I have more time? So leave the timers for the little kids. Leave the conversations about balance and how you're using technology, and not when or how long you're using technology for the big kids. We can do this, parents. We can write this chapter in the parenting handbook together. I look forward to hearing more in comments about how you do this in your family, when you know your kids are ready for a cell phone, and how you talk about the quality of tech use. If you click the link in the description here, we actually have a tech playlist, and it's a little bit of a handbook that talks about those categories and then goes into some of those more nuanced conversations and those threads that go between the categories, and some of the not black and white, the gray areas that you can talk about with your kids. To again, we want to ask our kids more questions than give the answers. We want our kids to build their own independent brains where they can make good decisions even when we are not there. Right? Definition of great parenting. Our kids make good decisions even when we aren't there. That's our goal, parents. It's a massive one, and it will take the whole 18 years to get it done. So never feel like you're behind. The best next step is making the next intentional step. I'm Katie Kimball for the Healthy Parenting Connector here at Kids Cook Real Food. Come on back next week. We have some powerhouse interviews this month, and I can't wait to introduce you to more experts. Yeah, there it is.